very good choice.
I had a bunch of pictures from that free will thing.
It's
that
just a
I
fabric
went
that
to,
you
so
can
sent it
never
to
wear
them.
around.
Yeah,
I
they were,
really like
yeah,
to see
nice.
pictures. People always like to see themselves.
Yeah.
It doesn't wrinkle,
Yeah.
and it doesn't wear around, you know. it's
What more
just
can you
not-
want? It gets spots on it from, you know, like good fleece.
That's satisfactory.
Ellie said she would come.
Okay, well, it is 3:30, so I'm going to start the meeting, and if John shows up, we'll welcome him in.
Okay.
So today is August 23rd, and we were starting the meeting at 3:30. First, we start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Hi. Hi, Melanie. How are you?
Hi, Ellie. Hey. Hi. How are you?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Approval of minutes from the last meeting. Did you have any questions? Okay. No questions here, so I will take a motion to approve the minutes
I'll
from
make the
August
motion
9th.
that we approve the minutes of August 9th.
And I will second that. All in favor?
Aye, aye.
You don't fire away.
Alright, there we go. And then we had a non-public meeting according to RSA 91-3 colon, let's start again. RSA 91-A colon 3 2A. And we had decided that we were going to keep those minutes sealed. So I will take a motion to accept make the motion to accept the meeting from, minutes from the meeting on August 9th for the non-public.
Can I make that motion to do that?
And all in favor?
Aye, aye.
Aye. Sign. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. We're halfway through. All right, this is a carryover from the last meeting. So we have the North Country Council representative appointments, and this is for the Transportation Committee, and we have the ability to appoint 2 reps. And so Emily expressed interest, David Campbell, Emily Benson. David Campbell expressed interest, and Jay, you were already on, so.
But not me, one way or the other.
All right, then I'm going to make a motion to nominate Emily and David Campbell, give you a break, and to be our 2 town representatives for the Transportation Advisory Committee on the North Country Council.
I'll second
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you for your prior service, Jay.
Yes,
One last
you did a nice
quarterly
job.
meeting that you have to do.
that. Yeah. Well, the 2 good people we have on there. That'll be good.
Yes. All right, next is the fire invoice. So this is something that you want to chat about here.
I don't have my copy.
I'm going to give you
I
one
wasn't
here.
in the office today, so I don't have
So
to do it all
Greg
over
and I
again.
will share this, and you can look at the detail so you can tell us about
So if you go to page,
it. No, we just have the front, so you can tell.
Okay. So we went to another forest fire small one in Bartlett from the railroad, which I did put some history on this one, 2021, 22. I mean, the history of the railroad goes back fires as long as I've been here. So the idea, I don't think we've hardly ever built anything other than some forestry stuff that the state requires us to build or whatever type of thing. But I know Bartlett bills every time they go out, and it was their call. So I felt we should create a bill, not necessarily about the money, but about trying to entice them to fix the problem. And if it keeps happening,
So-
we just keep.
And tell me how you calculated it, because I saw you
So,
had some documentation.
I have the second page shows in 2016 where we went to a per call price rather than by the hour, because when you run the fire department, it's definitely more than just what a fire truck costs.
Right.
It's training, it's operations, it's everything that makes the place go round. So in 2016, we took the annual budget and divided it by our average calls at 127 and come up with a 1655.
Okay.
But for example, when Bartlett did theirs by the hour, it come up to like a pretty similar number, so it's,
And were your crews similar at the
yeah.
response?
Yeah,
Is this the one that was up by Frankenstein's Trestle?
no,
or
this
the
was
second one by
behind
Advertising?
Grand Summit by
Okay.
the hotel there.
So-
I wasn't in town for that, so.
But I remember seeing
It was pretty
pictures
small.
of folks climbing down, because it was in a tree or something. No, that was something
It
else.
was something
That might be-
between the tracks and the hotel there, right, not the Grand Summit, but the hotel that's right on 302,
Okay.
just across.
And so because this is the scenic road versus just a forest fire.
Yeah, the state wasn't
Private.
involved in this, so the last bill where the state was involved, the forest rangers, that, all that billing is regulated by them, and
Right.
prices and everything. So this is just us billing.
Now, what was that calculation again to come to this amount, just so I'm clear? I'm just trying.
Basically what we did in 2016 is I took my budget, my
Okay.
department budget, and divided by the average calls we went on,
Okay.
which gives you a more,
Per call
you know.
basis.
and that was approved by Dick Bennett in 2016 when we went to that form of coming up with a dollar figure.
And so the pros and cons are, the cons are, of course, if we don't build them and we have to do it again, and we do build them, we'll say, well, you didn't bill us last time, so we've got precedence.
We just gotta, hopefully they'll come up with a way to fix the problem because it's getting
Right.
out of hand.
And that's more sparks and that kind of thing, is that what you're saying, fix the problem?
Whatever the problem is.
Okay.
I don't have those details of exactly how it's being done. There's a bunch of different theories, there's no super proof.
And so Conway's already built them. Any thoughts on this question?
No, I'll go along with what he wants to do here. I think
I'm
we
not
should
sure
get some-
when Bartlett bills monthly or quarterly or what they
Yeah,
do,
that's
but
their business,
but
but.
I think it's time to try to
So-
start enticing them on.
And this was July 14th of this year, so
Yep.
it's a month, a little
So
over a
we
month.
had one engine and the utility truck went, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people.
And there's no dispute that this was caused by the train.
That's the info that I got from Bartlett, because it was their call.
Okay,
So whether, we'll see what happens.
okay. I'm in favor of invoicing them. I think, like you
Even
said,
if we
it
just get
sets a...
some attention on it, that's, means a lot.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of reasons to do it. If it gets the attention, yeah, then, you know, thank God no one was hurt. Property was probably damaged, but you want to get the problem fixed, and I think that's number one. Number two is it does cost you money to assist on this, and it's a private company that you assisted, so how does this then compare to something else where you would respond to a fire at a private company? Would you normally rebuild them, or would it be covered by fire insurance? or-
The only other thing that hazmat calls is like a billing thing, where, like if you went to an oil tanker rollover and you had to be there for 2 days, then you bill. I mean, normal calls, we don't bill people. I know Bartlett bills for a whole lot. Like if minute they get a few alarm activations at one place, they bill for a lot.
Well, I mean, this seems like
Sometimes the
something
billing
like
gets
this.
to the point where it's more work for the office and me than it generates work for us. So if it's just a basic, simple thing, if we go to a car fire, we're not gonna bill somebody for
Right.
it. If we go
But
to
if
a
it's a
chimney fire, we're
private
not.
company or a nonprofit or whatever, and they have insurance, possibly that would cover it, it would be their business, obviously.
Hazmat and forestry are usually the ones that you see common billing practices with
Okay.
fire departments.
I was just trying to get in my head how you distinguish what you bill. And are there any other incidents that have been a similar scenario that we didn't bill for, that we could say, well, you didn't bill those guys, but you billed these guys?
Not in that volume, no. I mean, that's,
Just want to make sure we're not being
I think we
discriminatory.
billed- when Sonny Conchera had a fire, well, 5 years ago, maybe, it was like an acre up
Mhm.
on Green Hill. I think there was a forest fire bill for that one. Usually it's, you can, we're lucky, we billed when we went to the fire in Ossipee, Vale Mountain. We billed on that one. We billed that one. It was pretty, it was like,
The Conway PD bill, did the Conway Fire Department also work for this fire?
I don't know, I wasn't here. I don't think they did on that one either.
So it was just Bartlett and Jackson's fire.
I don't see a reason why we would not bill them. I'm in favor of billing them.
Nothing ventured, nothing gained, we'll see what happens,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
But, I mean, yeah, put people out there and, you know,
Like I said,
resolve the situation, that's what you're supposed to do, so.
Like I said, it's more about getting the attention and trying to get them to, well, come up with fixing the problem.
Well, I think they owe us for the.
In the history,
We'll go
I
through
mean-
that from the point of this.
You know, 2021, there was 1, 2, 3, 4 that we went to. 2021, 22, I think there's 4 calls that we went to, so we didn't bill for the
And this has to
first
do,
2. We didn't bill for the first 2 training fires. we went to. And I didn't go back beyond that, but I
But
mean,
again, if it becomes a repeat situation, it's gonna start costing because they're not resolving the issue. Okay.
yeah,
it looks like an average of at least 4 a year for many, many years.
Okay. So I'm gonna be safe and say let's make a motion on this, and I will make a motion to bill the Conway Scenic Railroad for $1,655 for the attendance of the fire on July 14th, 2022.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Okay.
All right. Before we move on, any public comments or thoughts on that? No? All right.
Oh, could Barbara?
Yes.
Jay, when you said help, they should fix the issue, is that what you're saying? It's Conway Scenic Railroad could do something about the sparks, is that?
Yeah, however the train creates the fire.
They should attend to that, is what you're thinking.
And I actually talked to him at the big fire up in Arts.
Yeah.
And they're trying, I do know that, they're trying to figure out stuff and make solutions, but it's gotta get to a point, it's just getting to a point where we need to do something.
Well, I don't think we've been in a situation with our environment this way too, where it's so dry.
Yeah, and it's
We're
not like we
Like
haven't
for the last few
given
days,
them,
but,
you know,
yeah.
it's not like we haven't given them chances and stuff,
Yep.
so.
Do you think that maybe sending a letter to them also, and if you want to come and meet with us to talk about this, we'll make our motion,
Yeah.
we did that,
Yeah.
but maybe if they want to discuss this with us so that, and have Jay here, just to talk about it a little bit, maybe that'll move them along as to what they have to do. Well, you can't just keep on having fires happening
Yeah.
and causing.
Are they cutting, Ellie Spears, are they cutting a lot of the vegetation around the tracks? Or
Yeah.
Riverside or?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what they do, but I know they have done cutting.
Try to,
Yeah, and I know they have made attempts, so
it's just the sparks.
it's just whether it's the sparks from the exhaust.
Well, that's how the brownfield fire started.
Yeah. So, all right,
Well,
let's
on the
see.
subject of forest, we did have a lightning strike on the side of Black.
Yeah, that was.
That was at night, so they found it and got out of the woods before somebody got
Somebody
hurt.
from Eagle Mountain, oh, sorry.
Just like
Wow.
that,
Sitting on the
ledges,
When was that?
and then the next day they went in,
Maybe 3
Oh.
years ago. Oh,
Went in.
Kenny.
put it out.
Folks, do you mind? I'm sorry, it's just hard for me to stay focused. Ellie, sorry. I have a focus issue. Sorry. So Black Mountain.
So it was right
lightning
on
strike.
I mean, cliffs, basically.
Mhm.
So they went in and we went in and it was that night they found it, and then the next morning went in for half a day and it didn't really go anywhere. It was a oak tree about that big, huge.
So they're fortunate nothing
Yeah.
really has happened.
So it's been a busy forestry year, I guess.
Busy forestry year,
That's-
plus a lot of
And our only call in town, I think, though.
auto accidents and
Mhm.
Conway and
Yes,
stuff.
Conway's had a rough.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
yeah, all right. Anything else fire related?
Just prepare you a little bit for what's coming down, probably within the month or so, is it doesn't look like we got the grant for air packs. I don't officially know that yet, but that's what it pretty much sounds like, because they've awarded a bunch, which is, Emily doesn't know yet, so. It'll be a pretty big disappointment.
Yeah, spent a lot of time on it and we were,
So we're gonna have to figure out how we fund that, when we fund it, and what we do. I mean, it's $100,000.
it's 100,000
It's actually 100
between Jackson and Bartlett total. Was that just
No,
our
it's
cut?
just Jackson. If we were to replace all of them, it's 130 or so, plus or minus. So we gotta think about that. We don't have to think about that money, but.
But fill me in, didn't we file that jointly with Bartlett?
Yes, that was a joint one
Right.
that we were told much better possibilities of getting them. I've had 2 or 3 different people as grant writers, so
Mhm.
we've tried multiple different ways, multiple different people. I was told by the salesman that it sounded like this year grants were going to people with high volume. So
Mhm.
it isn't necessarily about rich town, poor town.
Yeah,
Probably it's
and how many air packs do we have? 10?
13.
13, so 10 each, 13 at 10,000 each.
And
And,
the numbers are going up drastically every 6 months.
and how much, how, like, are they inventoried as far as age of the air packs?
Yeah,
So if
we've
you
got one
had,
batch that's newer, and then another batch that's fairly old.
can you get some numbers to me then if we don't get this, as far as what your recommendation would be to replace them moving forward? Whether it be
Well,
all 10, all 10 now, or would you do 2 a year for?
the only nice part about buying them all now, at one time, or over, is air packs, when they build them and design them and they meet an FPA requirement, then that requirement's good for, I don't know if it's 10 years, 7 years, before they change the air pack parts of it.
Mhm.
If you just replace one here, one there, now all of a sudden you got 10 different air packs, and you gotta have 10 people understand the differences between 10 of them.
Okay,
And that's kind of tough these days with the drastic changes that are happening to them every 3 or 4 years.
all right.
Versus whether we buy, instead of buying 13, maybe we'll buy 6, I don't know yet. We gotta think, that's what we gotta think about, but it's a fairly pricey item.
Right,
So the good part is if you bought 13, we'd probably be done for
for 10 years.
quite a while.
Yeah,
Probably, the ones we got are, the good ones we got, the newest ones we got around 07, so they're still usable, they're still fixable, they're still repairable, it's just
But we don't know that we're not getting the other ones for sure.
not yet,
So that,
but it's,
the thing I want to keep in mind though is our budget for next year is already scaring me
Oh, yeah.
and all of us because of the cost of
Oh, yeah.
living, which we've raised this year, and it's
Yeah.
even going higher. So I appreciate knowing this now and thinking about it and preparing, but seeing an inventory of what you have would be helpful too, so when we do come to make that decision and present it, we have all the
Yeah.
ducks in a
yeah,
row.
that's easy.
Okay,
The other option is to hire a grant writer too, but I don't know if that's a solvable thing for Jackson when it comes to, we've done some smaller grants, like a generator grant here or there, but the bigger grants seem to be tough for this town to be able to receive.
all right, well, keep me posted and let me know if you hear a definite one
Yeah.
way or the other.
And we'll see what Emily's got to say when she gets back.
Yeah.
We should know within a month for sure
Okay,
whether the salesman was pretty confident that he hadn't heard by now. We'll probably be getting a letter that says.
pessimist. No. Okay,
Realist.
The salesman.
yeah, all right, thanks, Jay. Any other fire questions or anything? Next is the old library and updating guidelines. So we have an application that is the standard application that's being used now, right? So is there anything immediately that you'd want to address on this when we talk about updating the application and the guidelines?
I'll just.
I know one of the reasons we are sitting here is because Melanie wants to have an art show, and that would be a for-profit event, and we want to hold it in the old library. So, is that something that we want to stick with on the application, or if we, do we still want to have it as you have to approve a for-profit event, or do we not want to keep that on there and open it up to more use? Yes?
Maryland Rose, isn't that up to the church to, that's where it was before?
Yeah, so that's, I know you guys sort of recommend to the church what you would like to do as well, and Joyce, you're on the committee as well, so I guess having a good discussion now, do we want to be able to hold for-profit events in the old library if it were presented to the church and approved by them? Because if I'm remembering right, Joyce, when you, Peter, and I met 4 years ago or so,
Is it maybe
3 to 4 years ago, yeah. That was one of the things we talked about, and it was a good discussion. I just know we are always trying to get new events in the old library too, and have a good usage for it. So.
I think is my recollection. I did bring my paperwork, but I didn't review it ahead of time.
I think number 6 on the contract.
Yeah, that's actually number 10.
Number 10?
6 is the no alcoholic
Oh,
beverages.
okay.
10 is the for commercial and for-profit events.
All right.
So
I think the church was just, my recollection, the church was trying to maintain some sort of a standard, perhaps, for the type of things that were held. I think an art show would be certainly past the muster.
right.
And there's no alcohol. I can't see
Right.
what would be objectionable to having that. I know it's for-profit,
There will be
but,
for profit, yeah.
Mhm.
But
Is
we don't
there-
know how much.
and you,
Exactly.
you hope.
Yeah.
Is it paid to it's paid to the old library, right? And it isn't paid to the church. The church is only trying to keep, I think, some sort of a say in what is presented and what is.
Right, so we talked about poker. We didn't really want to do poker
We're
events
not
and
having
things like that.
gambling.
But, right, we talked about keeping a level, like you said, a level of what we wanted to approve and not approve. And so we have the fee schedule at the top. So if this were an event that we had, whether we charge $100 for a major event like an art sale or whatever, then that would be acceptable. And we would present that to the church, the Protestant Chapel Association, saying it is going to be an art show, a for-profit event, is that acceptable, and get the, as the application is filled out, and get the okay. That would be the steps that I'm thinking would be logical.
That works for me, and I think I can speak for the
Yeah.
board, so to speak.
I guess I missed something. Is everybody agreeable that no alcohol should be served there when there's an event?
Isn't that town?
not-
Isn't that town?
Well, that's, I understand.
No, we would have to get a liquor license, a liquor approval, but
Yeah, I think our insurance company said that we could do it. The
You-
town can do it.
And it wouldn't necessarily be the town that would do it. You could also do it on a one-off event where you could get a policy for that day. I think
Yes,
Julie
yes.
was saying. So if we wanted to have a wedding in there on that day, we could have a liquor license and an insurance policy for that day to have an event. So yeah, I mean, we can definitely move off of this application to say, upon approval, upon, presentation of the application. Somebody also mentioned that the Historical Society does some wine and cheese type things, and we haven't really seen anything from them, so it kind of raises that point of, do we want to okay this? Is it something that we feel is going to get out of hand? Like Chief Burley always says, he doesn't like to make changes if nothing's a problem. So if we start, again, the goal is to get people using the old library again and for really nice events, weddings, art sales, things that bring people out and about again. I'm not opposed to it if it's done in the right way, and we can always pull back if something just doesn't work well. That's my thought.
I think we were more, Alicia Hawks, we were thinking more of like, if Melanie wanted to have wine or something,
Yep.
or a wedding, if we could work with her. We've had one beautiful wedding there,
Mhm.
and we'd love to do more if they could have maybe a little champagne reception. Not
Right.
like an open bar with,
Right.
mixed
And so I
drinks and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
just a simple.
Yeah, I don't think you're going towards
Huh?
something
A
like
toast,
this.
toast,
Yeah,
yeah.
and like you're not going something toward the events,
Yeah.
the tents now, like where you want to have a liquor license for the whole summer or something like that. You want to do it as part of the application that you apply for an insurance policy and serve alcohol on that,
Case
at
by
that
case.
event.
Yeah.
So
Case
the
by
town would
case.
apply for those, the town of Jackson would apply for.
I think
like
the
a
event
one-day-
would apply
the
for
event
it on
would
this
apply.
application.
And
And then we would,
Yes.
yeah, and then
Okay.
we would contact Primex and arrange for that. Now, the cost would be absorbed probably by the party having the event,
Right,
so we could find that out on an as-needed basis.
yeah. The only other issue, I know in the beginning of the management committee, I think Melanie came to our first couple of meetings, and for some reason at that time, what we understood was that nothing commercial could be there. And, I have no opposition to this at all. So, but we kind of got the idea that it was, the church didn't want, the other issue would be parking, for events like that, that would conflict with church parking, and especially now that
Right.
Wentworth parking is that's no longer an option, so.
Which way would this be?
Well, I mean, so just to give you a little background on what I'm thinking, we were thinking of like a pre-Christmas show that maybe took place over a few days in a row and nothing was going on. So I have some display walls. We just did a show at the Whitney Center, and they gave, they made me a key holder, and it was like $200 to use the space for the weekend. So that was doable for us. And I put up display walls. This is a picture. So I purchased a bunch of nice art display walls, put it up. We were able to leave it up, and it was great. It was just for the weekend. So
Yeah.
I did check out the old library like 6 months ago inside, and I think there is a way to put up some of those walls so that, you can hang work. We're thinking like small works and maybe some like pottery or glass, all local artists. So it would be
Sounds
like a
great.
pre-Christmas thing. We were thinking it would be nice to be doing it weekends before Christmas, but it looks like there's some stuff going on.
Yeah, that would have,
Yeah,
just have to
So
look
we,
at the
the
calendar.
period of December 15th to 18th, I don't know if it's too late in the season, but we could try it, would be 4 days, be open from like 9 to 5. We wouldn't do like an opening reception because I was thinking no wine or any, dealing with any of that. So it'd just be like, we'd be there, it'd be me and one other person kind of manning it. And people could just come in and, it just seems like the perfect building to have a little
Absolutely.
Christmas art show, so.
Yeah,
It's something to try, and I definitely would love to. My studio and gallery, some of you know, is like a mile down the street.
It's dangerously
local
close.
art, yeah. I mean, it'd be a great space to have, different little art things going on. If it was
Yeah.
something. So this would be kind of like a test run. So I don't know. So I guess I'd have to see too what it costs to see if would it be considered? So if it was like, I can give you this paper. December 15th to 18th, for instance, being open those 4 days, would it be, what is the charge per day, like, for, how does that work?
The original fee, now I only grabbed this on my way out the door and it's
Yeah.
really old, but it says events over 4 hours would be $100.
Per day?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's the way I read it.
Yeah.
Yeah, per day, $50 up to 4 hours per day, and 100 over $4.
So we also rent the Wentworth tent.
Right.
And we do it a weekend that they don't have anything going on.
Mhm.
And again, they gave it to us for like $200 to, we don't, we put up
Was
our
that
own
one
stuff.
day or 2 days?
2 days.
It was 2
Yeah,
days.
2 days.
Okay.
But if it was 100 a day, I probably wouldn't do 4 days then,
Yeah.
because I don't know.
I mean, that's
But-
something that you all would have to decide as the committee too, because the way I read it too, Jackson lodging establishments, it says meeting space $50 per event per week.
Yeah.
But if you did Jackson businesses,
Or
as
residents,
sort of
yeah.
understood it as that, you could do it as $50 per event. And all I'm saying is give it some consideration because you do want to entice people to have an event there too.
But
Some
we
of-
could do
and-
2 days too.
and
I
just-
mean,
yeah, and if you
but
did that
it'd
way.
be
4
nice.
days at 50.
Yeah, it'd be nice to like, it's a
Yeah.
lot of work setting up,
Yeah.
bringing the artwork,
4 days
doing all
for
the
free.
artwork,
Yeah.
And it's
So-
not as big of a space as, say, the community center where,
Right.
this is more, so I don't know if it'd be worth it, for 2 days to set it all up. It would be nice to have it up for even a week, but I saw there was things going on, so I tried to pick like a window where nothing was happening,
Yeah,
So, but, I don't know if we're gonna sell stuff, it's hard to, we don't really know how it's gonna do. If it did great, then, yeah, so, anyway.
so
Do I give this to you?
it really comes down to the intent of what you want to have done in the building. And, as selectmen, we'll hear you out on whatever, but I think it would be a wonderful event to start and do a little test run of having something open there as a for-profit event. And Melanie, just a little history too, when we've had some yoga classes and
Yeah.
things, there were contributions made to the old library
Yeah.
instead of paying for the fee. So there have been a few
Yeah.
different creative ways of covering the cost of having things in the old library. What else are your thoughts on doing this as far as something you really want to push for and make a deal on, or?
Yeah, we'll give her a package deal.
Yes.
I mean, it's really like a test run,
We just want the building to be used.
Yeah.
That was the
Be able
whole
to
point
do
of getting the
week,
plumbing in there was to have it used.
Absolutely.
In the summer.
Not-
So
Yeah.
I think, Melanie,
More
fill out
than
the
you can.
application, or
Right.
is that what she just
Yeah,
gave you?
She just handed
Yeah,
it.
so you filled out the application.
Yeah.
We'll talk amongst
Yeah.
you guys for the rate and everything like that and make it worth everybody's while. Have it used. Then we'll talk about the insurance
Yeah.
rates and what's involved. Do you want to have any alcoholic beverages for
I
this or
don't think
not?
since we'd be like a 9 to 5,
9 to 5,
like,
yeah.
if we did like an opening reception, then all of a sudden it's too many people coming, there's parking issues. I think if it's over like the whole day, it's not
Yeah.
like you're gonna have like so many people at once.
Yeah, well, the
it's
other
more
thing
like
is you have
trick
artwork,
walking.
and you have artwork, so
Yeah.
having champagne and artwork, doesn't
Well, we
always
did.
necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, we always
Close
did,
quarters.
before COVID, we always had like wine
Yeah,
set up. Now, it's been nice not having to do it.
well,
But,
we'll
you
just
know,
rename it from 9 to cocktail hour, and
Yeah, I
then
mean,
we'll.
we could have, I didn't even know drinks were allowed, but we could have like a thing of hot cider during the day without alcohol.
Yeah, that would
And
be
maybe
fun.
some like, I don't know, if, something set out, but
Yeah,
I'm
so there'd
fine.
be no need for that as far as the insurance goes, it would
No.
just be the cost of the insurance for the day,
Yeah.
for the days.
Mhm.
And then, Joyce, do you want to just take it as far as the church goes and making sure that the Protestant Chapel Association has no problem with it? And since it's December 15th to 18th and that calendar is open those days, we'll do it as quickly as possible. We have our next meeting on September 6th, which is actually next week,
Mhm.
2 weeks, I mean. So, we can make the finalized
Okay,
deal
yeah,
then.
that'd be great. And there would be 2 of us, me and one other person,
Mhm.
working, we'd probably split the days, so
Yeah.
there will only be 2 people there. And then I'm assuming there's like an internet connection there.
Yeah.
No.
I don't think so.
No, to run a sale?
We don't have an internet connection there,
Oh, okay.
unless they use it off of the church.
Right, so I have to figure that out.
But, yeah,
I bet you can get a hotspot or
You can
something.
always do it later too, right, you know, because I have like a little square.
Square.
oh, yeah.
And,
What are your thoughts,
Yeah.
Frank?
Well, ladies, they're in charge. And if someone comes to you and, again, going back to the alcohol part, you're just gonna have to figure out whether you think that would be suitable and then come back to us. But we're okay with it, if you're okay with it. So basically, that's where
Yeah.
I'm coming from.
You will be, Melanie, there's a restriction on how many people.
yeah, I saw that, but I don't think that would be a problem, because
Yeah.
usually if it's during the day, people are kind of, the only other thing to those dates would be, it'd be nice if we could get in like the night before and like set up, because it's gonna take like, you know, a few hours to set up, and then like maybe the morning after break down, so I don't know how that, you know, would work, but that's what we did over there, and it worked out great. So, I'd love to get in and see the space one more time too.
Ellie, did you have something else?
Well, I was, Barbara Terrios is on our committee, and she's also a JP.
Yeah.
And she does a lot of weddings,
Yes.
but usually are only 6, 8, 10 people, you know, they're just
The
like
small ones, yeah.
elopements.
Mhm.
So she could start promoting the library if we could have a toast, you know, if they could have
Yeah,
a little reception and then go off to do whatever they do.
right.
We could
I
work with the hotels too, but
Right.
she kind of is contracted to 2 hotels that
Yeah,
she's
she does the
part of
weddings.
the package deal.
Christmas farm.
But the elopements, you know, sometimes they have, there's just 2 of them.
Yeah, sometimes
But
it goes
could
to
be, you know,
Cathedral Legend does a wedding.
Right.
But I know-
Yeah, I think that would be a wonderful thing to start getting people back in there.
Yeah.
If we could partner with hotels, we did for a while with the Wentworth, but that didn't work out. But, you know, for meetings and things like that, just, you know, if they've overbooked or they don't have the space to have 2 or 3 meetings at a time in the hotels, then small meetings could be held in there too.
Yeah, and now that people are starting to get out again, I think it's time to start regenerating the talk about the availability. Joyce?
Somewhere I'm thinking there's a town policy regarding alcohol, and I say that because of the new library. You know, there's no alcohol. in
On town property, yeah, right, we voted on it. I remember that from many
So-
years ago, yeah.
And
So this is the old library's town property,
No.
On
Not
church, on
No,
church, land.
yeah.
yeah, town property
but
on
it's,
church
you
land.
own I guess I was thinking the town owns the building,
building.
therefore that made,
Yeah, Julie has looked into that, so she knows that answer. I don't.
so let's pick that up again and make sure that we yes or no cannot do it. And before we do any wedding promotions, for Melanie, it won't make a difference on that without alcohol. But let's make a very positive determination whether or not we can have alcohol there.
There is a town ordinance, so.
Is it all town buildings or was it just
I
the
believe
town?
so.
Yeah, let's check that out and then,
Land.
Yeah, look at it.
Maybe there's some flexibility.
I suspect that we can waive some of these things too, so
yeah.
that if we can approve something, we
Yeah.
all know about it, and, you know, we have all the information we need. I don't want to just shut the door on it.
I know,
Yeah.
that, and if there's a waiver we can get for if it's insured separately in something, let's be creative
I
and,
think we figure it out.
we'll figure it out.
You know, I don't want to be talking about another organization that I'm not a member of, but the Historical Society is playing Adieu in October, and they've been tossing around ideas about how to serve alcohol without, they want to get around something. I don't know whether it's insurance or a special dispensation, but there's something about you pay for the glass and the alcohol is, I mean, it's something
Yeah, I know,
really,
something creative.
something creative.
Yeah.
I'm not positive what, you know, again, I don't recall what their little plan was, but it might be worth
With your nip.
inquiring of.
Your own little nip.
They
Yeah.
used to always serve.
Flasks-
They used to
flasks.
have.
They did, but apparently they
Um,
paid for insurance or they paid for a bunch of stuff in order to do it. And because they don't want to expend that much money, they're trying to be creative.
Yeah, I'll talk to Ann and find out on that too,
Good.
what they're doing, because look, like Frank said, we want to have fun and we want to do things right. We don't want to put anyone at risk,
No.
but let's find out how to do things correctly. We're not having an open bar. We're having a little wine or, wine and cheese or something like that, so.
With a limited amount of people. I mean,
Yeah,
there's only so many people you can
exactly.
fit in that library, so.
Yeah.
So. All right, so we're going to leave the application as is today, and because we have prior approval of the Protestant Chapel Association, so that will be part of it, and Joyce, you'll get back to me on that one, or get back to Julie, actually, because she has the application. Does that sound good? And then the alcohol will follow up on. Anything else on that? I don't think we have to make any motions then, right? Because we're just leaving everything as is on the application. Nobody's got.
Does the committee want to look at the guidelines and are you guys going to update the guidelines and talk about payment, like revamping that?
Well, the fee schedule is on there. So
Okay.
I think they'll use that. And
That was old and we put the, I know there are some things on here that do need updating, the ones that are highlighted. But the Jackson lodging establishments, that was put on specifically for the Wentworth and they don't use it anymore, so I don't know.
So if you do want to change that to either Jackson Businesses or something, just,
Yeah,
maybe take a look at that. At the whole fee schedule, I guess, just to see if it's where you guys want to keep things and make recommendations. So in the case where you do have someone that wants to have a multi-day event, you can figure out if it's, somebody that's a local resident or a local artist or provider of yoga services or whatever, that they have the opportunity to arrange fees that are reasonable. Then anything that's highlighted, but I guess just looking at the whole list of guidelines and making sure it's what you guys still want. You still want to be the objectives. All right, that's good. Good discussion. All right, there is a facilities committee meeting on the 30th. So anyone that wants to, or we have quite a large committee, but it's actually making some progress, and we have hired Janice Crawford as our facilitator for the meeting to try to keep us focused and get things accomplished. Jay?
Has maybe I don't know if I missed the meeting or not, but has the Selectmen been updated, other than you were there, on progress with that, or where?
Not really, because we
Anything
haven't
wrong?
made any progress that is measurable. So we're working on a survey that should be going out in the next month or so, or Joyce, you were at the last
I
meeting.
think that they nixed
The survey?
the
Okay.
survey because it wasn't going to give us the information that we wanted.
So in that case, I'm going to say that nothing has been really decided to give us an update, but we're hoping that after the next meeting and with Janice's help, that we can start getting some progress made.
Okay, just thinking of budget season coming up and what kind
Oh,
of
yeah.
discussions are coming up in budget
Yeah.
season.
And the other thing is that the meeting on the 30th will be held at the Whitney Center because there's already a meeting in this building. So it's at 3 o'clock,
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock on the
What
30th.
does that fall, what day does that fall on?
That's a,
Friday?
no, hold on.
Tuesday?
It is on next Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yep, at 4 o'clock.
Thank you.
Of course.
It is.
All right, short-term rentals, we have no applications for permits, no violation notices, nothing pending, and no complaints. And then approved building permits. I'm guessing that because Kevin is not here to discuss the 3, that everything is very easy peasy and no questions, copacetic, yes. And then for upcoming meetings, because we have an election in September, our next meeting is actually on September 6th at 3:30. So no meeting next week, it's the Tuesday after Labor Day. So that's at 3:30, and we will have a Zoom option for that. And then the primary election is on the 13th from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. At the Whitney Center on September 13th, and then the next selectmen meeting after that is on the 27th at 3:30 as well. All right, any public comment or questions or anything else? Well, good, I will make a motion to adjourn at 4:14 p.m.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Thank you guys for all being here today.
I just gave
It's
the
good to
the-
go into have dialogue.
It would be